Hi guys, it's Em. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with my January reading wrap up. So I'm just going to be talking about the books that I read this month, whether or not I'd recommend them, and yeah, just some of my thoughts on it. I have written down some notes so I don't kind of like forget everything that I wanted to say, because I feel like last time I did a video where I've read the books, I'd not done it before and I was just kind of vague, so I'm going to try and be a bit less vague about it today. So I've got 6 books here, and yeah, I guess I'll just get started. The last book I was reading in January kind of spilled over slightly into February because it was just a really heavy read, and it just took me a minute to kind of absorb. So yeah, sorry it's late, but here it is. So I am gonna just get started, I guess. The book that I started January with, which was Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This was a really good start to the reading year. I really enjoyed this. It's a Japanese lit fic about a lady who works in a convenience store, kind of like the mundanities of life in that way. It's also about kind of the pressures that are on women societally in the way that, you know, by a certain age, have kids, build your career, find the right partner, and her parents want her to get a better job, but she's just really happy in this store. She's never had a boyfriend or a partner or anything like that. This was quite strange and weird and kind of dreamlike and just quirky, I guess. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. It's a really short read as well. It's about 150 pages, give or take. And for whatever reason, I just couldn't stop thinking about this even after. Like, I think I read it in just over a day, pretty much. Yeah, I just loved this world that Murata has created in this lit fic. So yeah, if you want a short read, if you like Japanese literature, it comes across as quite a simple kind of narrative, and actually I think, to me anyway, just equally about trusting yourself in that sort of society, or in the sort of society we live in anyway, with all these expectations placed on women and the fear of turning 30 and after that and what comes after that and all those sorts of things. Yeah, I would say it's about trusting yourself and trusting, you know, what you like and what works for you. But yeah, like I said, I couldn't stop thinking about this after, and I loved this little novel. So this was a great lit fic pick for the month. So yeah, I would definitely recommend if you want a short story. Yeah, that's Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. But if anyone else has read any of her work, please let me know your thoughts, because I'm always keen to hear about it. But yeah, that's that one, and yeah, I love this book. So next up on the wrap up, I have Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, and this is a psychological thriller about a young reporter who goes back to her hometown to go and kind of find out and report on the murders of some young girls, basically. It's a very kind of messy girl vibe. I don't know if you would say that. It's unhinged women as well, and it's also about like a creepy family, basically. There's lots of trigger warnings in this. I would definitely look those up if you're looking to read this, particularly for, say, something like self-harm or suicide. So if you're prone to being triggered by anything like that, just don't go anywhere near this book. It was alright. Like, I want to be completely honest about it. It was alright. It was good. A lot of people really like this book, and a lot of people kind of are really into that sort of vibe, and again, I liked the idea of the book, but I'm just not sure if this one was necessarily for me, maybe. And again, I've said this before, I'm a massive mood reader, and maybe I just was not necessarily in the mood to read this. Yeah, I don't know, I just didn't, I didn't enjoy it at the time that I read it. I liked the book, it was a good book. Flynn is a great writer, which is evident in her other work, obviously, of like Gone Girl. I wouldn't read it again, put it that way. Like, it was definitely unsettling and slightly creepy, and it is a reminder of like often evil is in plain sight and how kind of scary children can be, I suppose. And I'll leave it at that because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, but I probably read it at the wrong time of year, so yeah. So the next book that I read in January was Heaven by Mieko Kawakami. I liked this book. I really like this book. It's unsettling, but it's also really beautiful, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. It's about two students at the same school who are both bullied. Our main character is a young boy who has a lazy eye, and that's why he's bullied and picked on by these awful, horrible bullies in this book. And one day he gets this little note, or he doesn't know who it's from at the time, but someone who wants to be his friend, and it turns out it's this young girl called Kojima, who is also bullied by different people, but they're in the same class as well. It's just a really, really beautiful read. It's written beautifully, and it's definitely quite violent and does deal with some kind of difficult themes again, so it might be something that if you are interested in reading this, you would check the trigger warnings. It's just a really lovely and interesting discussion about the meaning of life, the meaning of suffering. It's just really tender. It's also kind of, I think, a debate on like trauma bonding and how productive relationships can end up being when they're built on such kind of difficult and shaky ground. Yeah, it's sad, obviously, it's heartbreaking, but also it's really quite lovely in a way that I didn't expect it to be, because it's dealing with such difficult and violent themes. Yeah, I would always recommend this one. I know this Kawakami also wrote Breasts and Eggs and also All the Lovers in the Night, which are really popular and well known as well, but I haven't seen much of this one. But this is the one that I started with. I'm still yet to read the other two. Yeah, I loved this book. I really loved it, and this is one that I think will stay with me for quite some time as well. And I do think about the characters still now, almost like a month later. So yeah, I would really recommend this book. Again, check the themes before you do dive into this one. It was just really quite sad, but in a really necessary way. I think it's an important book to read, and maybe even be required reading in some schools. In terms of the topic of bullying, this is a book that will stay with me for a very long time, and yeah, I would always recommend this. So yeah, that's that one. So next up, I finally read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. If you don't know what it is, or if you've not seen it before, it's a retelling of the Iliad from Patroclus's perspective, and it focuses more on Achilles and his love story. It was heartbreaking, but it was beautiful. It's atmospheric. This had me sobbing on the beach. I absolutely bawled at the last paragraph of this book. Even though it is heartbreaking, I just think the way it ends is just a really lovely ending. I don't know if I would have got over this book this story had that not ended the way that it has. I kind of see why everyone raves about this now. It took me a while to read, but I'm really glad that I did. It's a lovely, sexy, kind of heartwarming love story, and yeah, I would recommend this over and over. I'm glad I read it. Wish I'd read it sooner. I've got Circe as well. I really want to read that. I need to read that. But yeah, I loved it, and this was the perfect beach read, just imagining this world as I was reading it on the beach. If anyone has any recommendations for retellings of Greek myth, contemporary retellings, I would really love to hear. But I might struggle to read the Iliad and the Odyssey, just because sometimes when you are reading classics, like they just read like classics, if you know what I mean. But I would be open to reading it, anything to do with this. So yeah, that's that one. I'm down to my last 2 books now. So first up, I have The Woman in the Purple Skirt by Natsuko Imamura. I really liked the concept of this book. I really loved the concept of this book. It's kind of like a voyeuristic kind of stalking situation. The character in this book is stalking the woman in the purple skirt, so just this lady that she kind of observes from kind of hidden places and from not too far away, but far away enough so she doesn't ever notice that she's following her. She comes to this conclusion that she wants to be friends with this woman. So she starts trying to kind of engineer ways to meet this woman and strike up a friendship with her, and ends up trying to get her to be employed by the same company that she is, so she can work with her and can kind of come up and introduce herself. That's kind of where it ends for me. There was like a little twist in this book that I wasn't expecting, and that was interesting, but I don't know, I've heard people kind of rave about this book, and I don't know what it was. It just, like, no shade or anything, it just wasn't for me. There was something missing from it, I think, and maybe I missed a mark with it, like I missed the point. I don't know, I just found it quite dry, and just, like, the idea of it is really unsettling and, like, creepy and odd, but again, I might have read this at the wrong time of year to, like, fully feel like I'm enjoying it, but I don't know, I just feel like I was just waiting for something to happen, or to, like, find more out about this character who is speaking to us, and just never do. Yeah, I mean, read it for yourself. Like, if you liked this book, then, like, I'm really glad for you. I'm really happy for you. I just don't think it was for me, and I think I ended up rating this like 2 stars maybe, because I liked the idea of it, not like necessarily, like, I just don't think it was anything special. But anyway, yes, that was my second to last, my last book of the month, which was Animal by Lisa Taddeo. I don't know where to start with this book. This took me quite a while to get through because it is just quite heavy. I did almost end up putting this book down, not because it wasn't brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. In fact, this is probably the only book, if any, that I've given 5 stars to. Not ever, but I mean this month and recently. It was brilliant, but it's heavy and it's disturbing at times, but I also think that's necessary for this book. The female rage in this novel is serious. It's so well written. I can't believe this is a debut. This also has pretty much every trigger warning under the sun, I believe, or almost every trigger warning. So if you're intrigued about reading this, please do your research, because it's not for the faint-hearted in terms of there's some really quite nasty things in this book, so be aware. That being said, I did love it. Like, I'm trying to work out how I feel about this book, to be completely honest with you. Like, it was brilliant, but it was just really, really intense, but also so well done and so realistic. It's dark. It was a compulsive read, but like, just, it was incredible. It was so well written. I think if you are female especially as well, I think you will feel this book down to the bone. I don't even know, I haven't even told you what it's about, but it's about this character named Joan who ends up moving to California to track down this woman who has links to her past, where she can try and uncover some mysteries from a really dark or difficult childhood that she had. She ends up leaving New York because her married lover ends up publicly committing suicide in front of her and her other married lover in a restaurant. So right from the bat, it's just it's a crazy ride, and it's a roller coaster of emotions. And yeah, like I said, feminine rage in this book is next level. It shines necessary light on everyday misogyny, and yeah, there's just I loved it, but I hated it for how it told things so perfectly. It's because the things it talks about are so relevant. The world through Joan's eyes is a really dark and hopeless and kind of sad world. Sad because as the reader, the more you understand about her, the more you understand why she is the way she is. There's lots of nasty reasons. I felt this so deeply for this poor woman who has gone through, obviously I know she's fictional, but like this is a sad reality for so many women. This is why it feels so dire to me, because it's just, it happens. This isn't just like a fictional story. This could be any woman walking around. Just be prepared that it's intense and it's a really heavy read, and I found it really quite draining as well, because obviously it is just, these things happen. This isn't just a fictional story. Also, I keep saying about being female, whatever. Please do read this if you're male, because it's just as important. Yeah, Animal by Lisa Tadeo. It's a lot, but I would recommend this to anyone if you can stomach it. And I say that in a way that I almost didn't. I had to take crying breaks from this on some point. Really important read, as I said. But yeah, so that's that one, and that is my last read of January. If you do read this, you'll probably understand why it took me a minute to get through it, because I was like, that is my 6 reads for my January wrap up. If you've stayed this long till the end of the video, then thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble. So if you're new here, welcome. Thanks for watching. Come back if you want to keep up with what I'm reading, and if you're not new, then thanks for coming back again. And yeah, I'm gonna keep trying to read books that make me feel something in whatever way, shape or form, because I'm open to reading anything. Thank you so much for watching. I'll upload again in another couple of days. But yeah, thank you guys for coming, and yeah, have a great day and take care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.